Hi everyone. I'm gonna take you today to a presentation to show you new feature we added in Liferay 7.1. Just before I start, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Fady Hakim. I'm a sales engineer with Liferay. I joined since we moved from version 6.1 to 6.2, so I've been with Liferay for around 5-6 years now. And today I'm going to show you the 10 pleasant surprises that I believe you guys are gonna like it moving from 7.0 to 7.1. But just before I start here, I tried to divide this 10 things between the new things we add in the upgrade tools plus the 5 new features that you're gonna find in the product once you upgrade to Liferay. All right, so as you guys may already know, we are not anymore a single product company, so we're a multi-product company. Well, not multi, it's just 3. So we just have now, 4 after the announcement. So in this presentation, I'm just gonna talk about Liferay Digital Experience Platform. And if you guys are new to the Digital Experience Platform, it's basically what used to be Liferay Portal. And then from version 7.0, which is the previous version, we call it the Experience Platform. So I'm just gonna talk about those 10 new features that we have in the Experience Platform. I'm not gonna talk about Commerce or Analytics Cloud now, right? So usually around this time of the year, it's the time to upgrade. So some of you have been in version 7.0 or version 6.2, and now it's time hitting. We need to do an upgrade. And the first question will come to us. How's the upgrade tools that you guys have? We faced some problem in the previous tools. What are you guys having new? So what I'm gonna do in this presentation, as I said, I'm gonna start the first 5 points regarding our new things that we add inside the upgrade tool. And then the rest of the presentation will be the new feature that we add in Liferay 7.1. Right? So the first thing I'm going to talk about it is the auditing. So we got a lot of complaints about our auditing system during the upgrade process. So a lot of people say, I have my upgrade filled, but my login is not showing me enough information. So this is what we actually enhanced in Liferay 7.1. So we actually do provide now a better logging mechanism. You can actually see every process, how long each process takes. Also, if you enable debugging, you can also go inside each processes and you can see minor issues that can happen. So we have more details on each processes now in our logging environment. A lot of other minor things we add also in logging that I see it's pretty interesting. A lot of customers coming back to me and say, oh, I have my upgrade filled. And after a lot of investigation, we figure out, oh, you're not on the right patch set, so you may need to upgrade your environment to the right patch set before you do the upgrade. Those things wasn't in the logs. Those things, it was just like a previous experience. So we actually enhanced our logging mechanism to show all of those things. So as maybe it's not clear to the end, but as you can see here, kind of like when I enable the debugging, it shows every processes, how long it takes. Also, it shows minor details inside each processes as well. Other than log as well, we're showing the patch. It's a very trivial things to show the patch, but believe it or not, a lot of clients was complaining to this because they figure problems during the upgrades and they don't know where's the problem coming from. Okay. The second thing I want to talk about is our DXP upgrade tool. Right, so in the old days, usually upgrading the database, that used to be a system admin task, and the system admin used to have a problem, which is to do the upgrade to database, you have to use a jar file, so you basically execute this jar file, and that jar file is actually doing the upgrade for you. System admin, they're not developer, it's not polished way of doing it, so we hear it from our customer, and we actually create new script tools now. So you have scripts to upgrade databases wherever on Windows environment or Linux environment. So this is new scripts that we have available right now. The other thing also, we do have a lot of clients that were complaining that if I have my database on another machine, I'm connecting through an SSH channels, and for any reason I got disconnected, I need to restart my upgrade process from scratch. It was really a pain. And now, since we have a script running, if you connect it to SSH channels, you run your script, you got disconnected, you can connect again and the upgrade process is still running. You can just basically go to the logging and you can check what happened in your processes, make sure it's actually everything is running perfectly. The second thing is reverse fix packs, right? So I'm not sure if all of you before tried this or not, but in Liferay, if you install a fix pack, if you face any problem, you want to revert to fix pack and you don't have a backup, it's really pain, all right? So we actually address this in 7.1. It's easy now that you can reverse from one version to another one. So the next 3 slides, I'm gonna take you a little bit of history, how we did this. Maybe it's not gonna be interesting for everyone here, but I'm just gonna show you from Liferay how we manage to allow you to reverse fix packs, right? So as you may already know in Liferay, when you do the installation, you basically have a core code and then your database schema, right? And whenever you apply a fix pack, this fix pack sometimes change only the code, and sometimes it change the code, and as well as adding some changes in the schema of database. So what we did is we did a schema versioning, right? So the schema versioning, anytime I apply a fix pack, it actually apply a new version for the schema. And the versioning of the schema itself, we use something called semantic versioning analogy, which is basically representing every schema version with 3 numbers. So if you change the first numbers, you can see here, so the first number, if you change it, that's mean that it's a major change that we did in the schema, and major change mean that this schema cannot run with previous code, and we're gonna see an example to this. A minor and micro changes is basically you do changes that can actually compatible with previous code. The difference between them, minor is for introducing new features, micro is just for doing some minor fixes. So this is kind of the versioning structure that we actually use it when we introduce a new versioning schema. So just in a quick example, if I wanna introduce a new feature fix pack, and this fix pack actually some major changes, what kind of major changes it can be? Stuff like removing database fields, removing table. You know, if I did this, that would break the Liferay if I tried to run it with previous code. So this is, we call it major changes. Minor changes can be kind of like adding a new database field, creating a new database table, right? Again, those things, if it happens, it would still work with the previous code, right? And finally, micro changes. Sometime in our fix pack, we get some problem with client that the field set size is not correct. So we provide a fix pack to fix this in the schema. So creating a minor, this is require us to create a new schema version, right? So now when you have a new fix pack, this fix pack can have a schema version inside it. So as a quick example to this, let's say in one of my fix pack, I want to introduce a new micro change. So let's say here, as you can see in that example, I have the journal content search table, and I want to change the portal ID. This is actually a minor change, all right? So doing this, as you can see on the top, this is from Liferay side. Whenever I introduce a fix pack, I basically register this schema to a new one, so you can see it's only added number 1 on the micro change, which means that it tells Liferay that this changes is actually micro, which means it can work with previous codes. Right. So a lot of people here is going to tell me, why should I care about all of this? All right, so don't get panic. This is just the details from Liferay. What you should care about is what's coming next now. What you care about is basically now the upgrade process is actually more flexible because you don't need to tie your upgrade to a specific fix pack. So in the previous version, if you want to upgrade from 6.2 to 7.0, we tell you have to be on fix pack, the last one, so that the upgrade tool will work with no problem. Now we don't need to do this. And the reason for that is we know exactly what schema version you are on. And based on this, the update tool will be able to update your code, whatever fix pack you have, to the next version, right? The next thing is, which is I was talking about, you can revert any fix pack you applied. So if you apply a fix pack, you have any bugs, now you can revert this with no problem. And finally, one more thing. By the way, this fixes if you guys are on 7.0. If you upgrade to fix pack 40, you can use those features. And finally, the last thing, which is I believe it's a big deal, is that anytime now you're on the upgrade tool and you have any failed, in the old days you need to get the backup and you need to start from scratch. With this schema versioning thing, you don't need to do this. You just start from the point where you failed. Okay, so we enhance the performance. It's actually a faster process to do the upgrades. Right, number 5, in the upgrade part, we actually improve the performance of upgrade. And for this point, I just want to highlight, I'm talking at this point about the performance of the upgrades, not the performance of the server. We did huge improvement in the performance of the server in terms of number of concurrent users between 7.0 and 7.1, but at this point I'm not discussing this. I'm just discussing the performance during the upgrade process. So usually we actually reviewed the whole code we have in the upgrade. We actually removed a lot of unused codes from previous version to the newer one. So for example, in Liferay 7.1, if you are on Liferay, we support only upgrades from Liferay 6.1 and above to 7.1. And our upgrade tool had codes from versioning before 6.1. So we removed all of that code. We had some verified processes. So if you guys did upgrade, there is a lot of verified processes we run. Just to not go into details, a lot of verified processes, we removed it because we felt it make more sense for previous version, but for newer one. So basically, we reviewed the code. We actually did a new code, removed a lot of things, refactored a lot of things just to improve the performance. Another cool thing we actually do it too is when you guys do the upgrade, usually the process is running on single thread because the order of the upgrade, it needs to take an order. But when we figure out, when we did the reformatting for the code, we figure out there is some processes we can run them on the multi-threading. So also we have some, and during the upgrade process, some processes will be running on a multi-threading way. Other stuff like loops, update statements, we actually enhance this one, indexing. So all of this is actually enhance the performance that we have in the upgrade tool. One last thing here in this point that I want to recommend it and actually enhance the performance a lot. If you guys doing upgrades on the database that you're doing upgrades, we recommend that you tune it for the performance, for the upgrades. What I mean here is that the upgrades needs a lot of insert and delete operation, while at runtime, all what you do is just reading the database. So for the insert, delete, you may need to tune it differently than production databases. And that actually enhanced the performance a lot. We actually did some tests in our labs, and I would tell you with the new update tools, we have around 60 to 70% enhancement in the performance than the previous one. All right, so now what? I upgraded to Liferay 7.1, and I just want to know what's new, what I'm going to get in there. So the rest of this presentation, I'm going to highlight some of the new feature we have in 7.1. Some of them you're actually saw in other presentation. I'm just going to highlight the major 5 features that I believe you guys, if you did the upgrade, you're going to really like it. The first thing is the web experience part, okay? So in Liferay, we had a lot of clients that when they come to us from the experience of content management solution, they always say, okay, you guys are more like a portal for integration. We don't have the same content management solution that you used to have in other products. So we actually introduced this feature in Liferay, having a web experience and a content pages that admin user can edit it at runtime. So we're gonna see actually that in a demo, but basically, developer create something called page fragments. So you can see here, each page, when you create a content page, it's composed of page fragments, which is part of small pages. And then developer make those fragments available. So developer are the one who write the code. And then after the developer, there is designer. Designer, basically, their job is to create either page templates or pages from those fragments. And then business user at the end, they can update the content of those fragments. And we're gonna see that in the demo in detail. So basically you have fragments. Those fragments you can create templates or you can create pages. And then business user, they don't really need to care about that structure. They wanna see a page, they wanna click edit, and when they edit, they wanna see exactly how their client will see it. And we're gonna see that in the demo. The fragment editor is actually very developer friendly. So when you create a page fragment, you're gonna have that view, so you're gonna have the HTML, CSS, JavaScript completely separated. So your code, and then in the box here, you can actually see how your content looks like. Also in your page fragment, you define what part of this fragment will be editable by the business user. So you have full control to define what can be fixed, what can be editable with other customers. For the people with the web experience also, we did dynamic menus. So in the old days in Liferay, when you create a new page, you just have one menu. You have a page menu, and then inside this menu you have your hierarchy. In Liferay 7.1, we provide you to create dynamic menus, which mean that you can create multiple menus and use this multiple menus different places on your pages. So also that's another thing we're gonna see in our demo. Right, forms. Does anyone, few here, use forms in 7.0? Okay, quite number, okay. So 7.0 was lagging a lot of features in forms because I would consider it's a basic starting forms. A lot of clients liked how it looks like. They can create pages, they can create form fields on the fly with no code, but a lot of details behind this was missing. So we introduced a new form. We have a whole different speech about that, but I'm gonna highlight major feature that I believe in our form. So I'm gonna run a quick video here. Let me take back the mouse. There you go. Okay, so basically in the forms, you can drag and drop fields, create pages, but we introduced the concept of doing rules, okay? So if you want to do a complex rules, let's say, for example, I want a customer, whenever he select an option, certain fields to be hidden. If he writes certain things in one field, I want him to jump to the third page instead of the first page. If he enter a value, like a number value in fields 1 and fields 2, I want this value to be calculated, and I see the calculation in a different page. So this is, we call it rules. So we create a page that you can create rules. Those rules can be ANDed or ORed together, and it's so easy to do it. No programming language needed here. So in this example here, this is a quick example to show you someone create forms, and this toggle box, whenever they switch it on and off, they want to remove or add the return field. So let's see how to do this. It's basically go to the rules section, and then you create a new rule. And then on your rule, you say, if my fields is empty, the action to be that show another field. Right? So just save the rules. So they created the rules now. And the second thing you need to do is just go to your form and publish it. And when you publish the form, you have the link for the form that you can send it to your client. So we're gonna test this now. And now you're gonna toggle that field, and you can see after toggling the fields, there's another field that get hidden and show. So pretty easy, quick steps, you can add rules like this. This is a very simple rule, but you can basically make it much more complex if you want. Those rules, again, is not limited to hide and show. You can make fields required based on certain selections. So let's say someone in the fields, he write that he lives in the United States, so you can make social security number required based on that condition. So the actions is a lot. You can make field enabled or disabled based on certain rules you want to write. You can do auto-filling. So let's say someone writing his address, you want him to not write the full address. You want to connect that field to a data service that whenever he start writing the address, you can auto-fill this fields as well. You can hide and show, and that's what we saw in an example. You can jump between pages. So let's say someone in the first page said he's not interested in one option, and this option has one of the pages in the form, so you can allow him to skip pages based on those rules. You can do calculation, as I mentioned, so someone filling a form with certain numbers, you can calculate these numbers and show him the result at the end. And finally, you can do successful screen. So, and this is actually funny, we have a client that was using our form, and he's like, all right, so I submit my form, but what's next? I don't know what happened. So now we do have a successful page telling him your form got submitted, and then you can have a copy for it. I mean, it's a minor feature, but a lot of clients ask for it. Other feature we added as well in our form is that it's multi-language support. The first one wasn't. We introduced a new field. So the first one was like input text, date, and I believe drop-down menu. So we add other newer feature to that. We add validations. So now we can do a complex validation rule. So let's say if someone entered certain value you can validate this before it moves to the second page. Let's say you want to validate he's having a correct email or not. So all of this, you can validate it as well as the form. Okay. Option number 8, the data protection. Did you guys hear about something called GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, before? Okay. So usually people who coming or work in project in Europe, they know what's this because that's a big deal there. And I'm positive this is going to be a big deal here in the US, especially after the hacking on Facebook and those things. It's basically a regulation that every company is actually can provide the users how they use their data, and each user have control on this data. If they ask any time for the company to delete all the data that they enter in the system, they need to do this. If they ask them to send him a copy from this data, they can do that, right? So we do provide a lot of options 7.1 to allow our customer to be compliant. So for example, let's say a user wants to leave a system that is built on Liferay. Companies now, they can go in Liferay admin console and they can say for that specific user, show me all his data. So it will show his profile, his comments, his blog, his content he added. And then you can, with a click of a box, say exported, or a click of a box, you can say deleted. So that option is available to allow our client to be compliant with certain data protection rules. Elasticsearch. So as you may know, with Liferay 7.0, we introduced Elasticsearch as the default search engine with Liferay instead of Solar. And Liferay 7.1, we still have it. The difference that we are supporting version 6 now in 7.1. In a previous version, we were supporting version, I guess was version 0.2. So it's a big enhancement here. The other good thing also, which is I'm not going to have time to show in the demo, but is we allow you now to create search pages. So let's say you want to create a customized search page that whenever someone do a search, he wants to see on the right side some facet to filter his search, and then a map to show him the result, and then under the map you want to show him the real assets itself. So you have a way to customize creating search. And then those search pages, you can actually allow them to be visible whenever someone doing a search on a site. So creating search pages, integrating with Elasticsearch 6, that's the biggest two things I see in that part. Number 10, I actually have a lot of things to add, but they told me just add 10 points. So that's why I said number 10 is everything else. So I'm just going to highlight the other things. So for number 10, the things I want to highlight, staging, okay? So a lot of clients using previous staging, they say, oh, performance problem, UI is really bad. If I want to have one asset only moving from staging to production, I have a hard time to do this. So I really encourage you guys to look in Liferay 7.0 staging feature because we have completely different UI. Plus you have the option now to select what asset you want to move it from staging environment to production. Workflows, we have a lot of improvement there, having versioning, I would encourage you to take a look on that. Other stuff that also worth to mention, we have something called adaptive media. So in the previous versions, for example, you want to have an image, and you want this image to have different resolution when your customer access your site on a desktop versus a mobile browser. So what we used to do is you have to manually maintain two versions of the images and then do different content and do rules when this content be shown and hide. With Liferay 7.0 and 0.1, you don't need to do this anymore. You have one image, and Liferay framework will actually control the resolution of the image whenever you access this image from the mobile versus desktop. So this is a nice way that you don't need to keep two copies for the content based on what device you're going to support the network. All right, so let's have a quick demo. I just have 6 minutes here, so I'm gonna be fast. Anyway, so this is a quick demo that I wanna show here. So I have an environment. I'm gonna log in as an admin user. Usually creating page and content, you have various users working on it. So you have business user, you have admin user, you have technical user, but I'm just gonna do everything now with one user just for our time. Okay, so I'm logging here as an admin user. And now when you log in now in Liferay, when you open the browser here under the build, you're going to see pages and page fragments. So if you went to pages and tried to create a new page, it's going to give you the option either you want a widget page or content page. So the web experience part that I was talking about is regarding the new type of page which is called content page. So as I mentioned in my presentation, you first create page fragments, and then you can either create template that business user will use, or you can use this fragment inside real pages. So let me show you how it looks at page fragments. So inside my page fragments, I create a section called products. And inside my product section, I actually create certain fragments that people will use whenever they create a product page. Okay, so I have one here to show you pretty quick. So I create this fragment part that it's called, I call it product header. So whenever they create a product page, they need to have that header and they can change the content inside it. So you can see I enter my HTML, CSS, and this is how it looks like. And you can see here also, anytime I want a field to be editable by the business user, I add this field. So when I add Liferay editable, that means that this field will be editable. So here I did this field to be editable and I made it rich text. Another field here as an image. I did another field editable, but image, so people can change the image. So you can make any part of the page to be editable, to apply a link, image, and so on, as you wish. Right, so I create my page fragments, and again, everything you edit here, you're gonna see it immediately. So if I just change this here, you can immediately see your changes. So anytime you add CSS, JavaScript, you don't need to deploy your code, you see it immediately. Okay, so I create the page fragment. The second step as a business, as a technical user, you create page templates so business user can use this page templates. So I'm going to my pages, and inside my page template, I have one created already, so I called it product page templates, and I edit this one. So this page have a collection of fragments. Okay, so I'm gonna add the new fragment that I just had it there. So it's called product header, so I'm gonna add this one here, and now I wanna move this to the top. Right, so I'm gonna move this all the way to the top. Right, so I have my product page template is already created. The next step I'm gonna do is I'm gonna publish this. I'm gonna go to my site, and let's say I'm a business user now. I got a request that under product there is DXP Analytics Cloud, so I wanna add a new page for commerce, okay? So business user can add it pretty easy. They can just come to the page section, and on the product side, they can add a new page, and they're gonna use the templates for products. So we're gonna click add this, and they're gonna name it commerce. So now a new page got created, and if they went under the site, now under product, there is the commerce page got created. So let's say they wanna edit this page, okay? So there's an edit button on the top here. They can click edit, and that would take him to edit this now. So I'm gonna just copy some text here quickly. Right, so I'm gonna edit this. Right, and now I can also edit that part. And this is the parts of the page where, as a developer, I made it editable for the user that they can edit here. So I'm gonna make this editable. And it's really nice because business user, they exactly see how the content will look like while they're editing it. Let's say they want another image for the commerce, so they click on the image that opened the document repository. And here they can actually look for the commerce image. And on the fly, they were able to create the page, change it, and now once they click, go back to the page, now the page will look this way. So anytime they want to edit a page, they basically click the edit button. Let's say they went to the home page, they scroll down and they figure out this menus need to be changed. They don't want that menu. So what they're gonna do, they wanna create a new menus for just products and add it on the bottom of this page. So as I was talking, you can create dynamic menus. So I'm gonna go quickly to the dynamic menus, create a new menu, name it products. And in this menu, I'm gonna add some pages inside it. So here I'm gonna choose this menu to have only 3 pages. Click add. So now I have my new menu got created. So if I went back to my pages, so now let's say I want to edit the menus downstairs. So not downstairs, just down the page. So I click edit, and now I can just scroll all the way down. And then on this one, I made this editable during my development of this fragment. So as a business user, I can just click configure, and I can choose a menu that I created. And just by hitting save here, just going back to my page, now I actually have the commerce menus there. So this is very nice way for content creator to create content and publish it. There is a lot of other features. Just for our time, I'm not gonna be able to show it, but this is complete my demo today. Thank you. I guess we have like 5 seconds, but I guess if you wanna just have 1 extra minute for question, if any, yeah. Yeah. From 6.1 to 7.1, you don't need to upgrade to like 6.2 and then 7.1. You can upgrade directly from 6.1 to 7.1. Any version previous to 7.1, you can upgrade directly to 7.1. Yeah. That's included in the upgrade tool. Just want to be honest with you, maybe it's not going to be like as easy as we think. So, I mean, it's included in the upgrade tool anyway. So if that's wanted, it's included in the upgrade tool.